Shein, H&M, and Forever 21 are all retailers that have been around for decades and are a primary source of fashion for a majority of the population. However, these fast fashion brands' speedy production leads to awful results of consumer overconsumption. It's incredibly difficult yet important for a consumer to know where to purchase ethically sourced clothing and for a consumer to not buy unnecessary clothing that they will trash after only 1 or 2 uses. As someone who actively participated in purchasing clothes from retailers such as H&M to now strictly thrifting or purchasing new clothes from 100% ethically sourced sellers, I've dedicated plenty of time to researching which brands are the best to source items from. Today, I'll be going over exactly what clothing overconsumption is and who's actively supporting it, the effects it has on the environment, and the many reasons why and how you can reduce overpurchasing clothing. So the first topic we're going to be going over is what it is. So basically, clothing overconsumption is when, as a consumer, you're buying clothes in mass, especially from fast fashion retailers such as H&M or Shein. So a lot of companies enable this type of behavior. So instead of having you buy higher end items for a higher price that are better material, they're going to enable your purchasing by having these prices be incredibly low. And since so many of these items are so cheap, usually being with under 10 or even sometimes $5, many items are able to be purchased. So that's why we see hauls on TikTok and YouTube of people doing sometimes hundreds of, I've even seen $1,000 of items that these people are purchasing. So the next issue we have is greenwashing. So basically, greenwashing is when a company says that they are environmentally friendly when that is not the case. So Carolyn Edwards, a journalist for Business News Daily, stated on August 5th, 2022, that greenwashing is when a company purports to be environmentally conscious for marketing purposes, but actually isn't making any notable sustainability efforts. So especially in today's society, we see this being more normalized. A lot of companies would rather put up a facade saying that they're environmentally friendly when they haven't done anything at all to change their policies. And what we need to do to fix these issues is look at what the brands are saying. So a lot of the times they'll say that they're eco-friendly or it's green in their production process. And they could simply just be lying because there's no regulations put on that. So the next issue is knowing which brands support this type of behavior. So one of the biggest brands in recent years has been Shein, and Eva Astul, a blogger for Sustainably Chic, stated on November 2nd, 2022, that it adds 500 products to its website each day at very cheap prices. The brand contributes to the throwaway culture fast fashion brands are promoting, which comes at the cost of the environment. Amongst this, there are many allegations of them not paying workers fair wages and for culturally insensitive products being created, such as a necklace that actually resembled a swastika. So one brand is H&M, and they are kind of known for having this green approach in their fast fashion, and they have this textile recycling program. However, only 35% of the textiles are actually recycled and the rest are burned. So now let's discuss how it harms the society and the environment. So the first thing is landfills. Charlotte Muldrum, a writer for the Register Forum, stated on October 30th, 2021, that 92 million tons of fast fashion end up in landfills every year and take over 200 years to decompose. And Valentina Portella, a researcher for Calprig, stated on March 9th of 2021, that it might come to a surprise to learn that around 85% of textiles thrown in the US are dumped into landfills or burned, including unused textiles and unsold clothes. Furthermore, it's estimated that the average American throws away about 37 kilograms or 81 pounds of clothing every year. So as you can tell, this percentage adds up over extended periods of time, especially since they have such a long decomposition time. These clothes just pile up in these landfills and cause many issues. So the next issue is the harmful and excessive emissions that come from clothing overproduction. So Shein and H&M overproduce 30 to 40%, and a lot of this ends up burned, which creates harmful emissions, especially with the fibers that are within the clothing. Valentina Portella, a researcher for Calprig, stated on March 9th of 2021, the fashion production industry contributes roughly 10% of all global carbon emissions and is the world's second worst offender in terms of water and plastic pollution. So a lot of the times when you throw away these fast fashion clothes, they have plastic fibers in them or other fibers that are harmful, and then these end up in the landfills or even sometimes in oceans, which ends up destroying these ecosystems and harming a lot of natural wildlife. So the next major issue we have is with worker rights being violated. So a lot of times these factories have unsafe conditions and the stories are being spread throughout the entire world right now. So a lot of times these brands lie or disregard the laws put into place in the countries that they're having the factories be built in. And a lot of times these are foreign countries since they have less regulations, and it allows owners to not emphasize the importance of worker safety. Sarah Jackson, a journalist for Insider, stated on October 16, 2022, that workers at factories in China that supply clothes to Shein frequently work up to 18 hours a day with no weekends and just 1 day off per month, and that some workers even wash their hair on their lunch breaks because they have so little time left at work. And this lack of morality is shown directly in the prices. Since they're able to have such low wages and such long, hard labor, they can sell these prices for incredibly cheap, sometimes $1 to $5 for a t-shirt, which shows just how much they do not care about the workers' rights. So then the next issue we have now is understanding how these practices are wrong and what we can do to get better and start reducing and finding ethical brands. So the first reason to reduce is that it is incredibly important for many personal reasons. So you can make your purchases more meaningful and have that idea of quality over quantity. So instead of buying 20 items for $50 on Shein or H&M or any of those other retailers, you can have 5 good items that will last you a long time. So another idea of this is with thrifting. So it is a financially better solution, and it's a way to reduce your own clothing being thrown away. So you can buy clothes and donate them after you're done using them, which allows the fashion cycle to keep going. It's also more sustainable and significantly cheaper, valuing at around 10 items for every $15. So if you don't have a thrift store around you, we can always go and look at ethical brands. The writers of Team ThredUp, bloggers who research brand sustainability, stated on October 11, 2021, that brands such as Reformation, 90%, and Everlane are sustainable while simultaneously in trend. The ThredUp writers also state that Reformation has eco-friendly practices in place that include green building initiatives and minimizing energy, water, and waste footprints. Locally sourced and screened suppliers provide the materials needed for each piece. So a lot of times these brands will focus on the basics of clothing. So you'll have usually plain colors or muted colors in the form of t-shirts, sweatpants, sweatshirts, that type of stuff. And instead of a lot of standout prints like the fast fashion brands are making, clothes are made to be worn for a long time and also remain fashionable. Today, we've gone over what clothing overconsumption is and who is contributing, the lasting effects it has on the environment and society, and finally the reasons why and how you can reduce clothing overconsumption. By being able to completely acknowledge how to reduce your lasting impact on the environment through the usage of buying less clothes, you can stop this incredibly harmful issue. So before browsing the 1,000 pages of Shein, filling your cart with items you're never going to wear, question whether or not these are needed purchases or if you're just buying to buy. Your purchases, combined with that of every other human, can and will have a lasting legacy on our planet. However, by purchasing clothes you actually need from ethical sources can ensure our planet will live on.